Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Top 5 to Stay Alive for November 2018. Shall we dig right in? This first topic is a bit outrageous. You see, a deadly street drug is now being used for depression. I bet you wouldn't try to treat cancer with cocaine, and you probably wouldn't take heroin for heart disease either. If both of those ideas sound ridiculous to you, then you're not going to believe what our government is doing now. The Food and Drug Administration is allowing a dangerous ingredient from a street drug to be tested on people with depression. I'm talking about an illegal drug that's been linked to everything from murder to suicide. This is crackpot medicine at its very worst, and you'll want to act now to keep yourself and the people you love safe. People with serious depression at up to 15 sites in America and Europe are about to become human guinea pigs. The FDA has just given the green light for Compass Pathways to begin clinical trials for something known as psilocybin therapy. So what's the big deal? Psilocybin is the active ingredient in psychedelic mushrooms. Yep, the same psychedelic mushrooms that Charles Manson and his followers like to enjoy. Of course, the FDA wants us to believe that psilocybin could be some breakthrough for depression that doesn't respond to other treatment. It's not, and I'll explain more about that in a minute. And there are websites claiming that psychedelic mushrooms are some of the safest street drugs around. Well, they sure weren't safe in 2010 when a California man gouged out his exercise partner's eyes, tongue, and heart after taking them. And they weren't safe when a 27-year-old school teacher stabbed himself to death with a broken bottle while high on the mushrooms and the psilocybin they contain. Researchers have even concluded studies trying to understand why some people taking psychedelic mushrooms think they can fly and jump out of buildings. Plus, like I said, using psilocybin isn't exactly some breakthrough. Doctors and researchers have been experimenting with psilocybin for psychedelic conditions since the 1950s, and there's a very good reason it's not considered a standard of care for depression. Some of the side effects of psilocybin include debilitating hallucinations, panics, and anxiety. Just what a depressed people need, right? Instead of looking for new drugs for depression, how about we try and understand what's causing the depression in the first place? We know that things like poor diet, nutritional deficiency, and hormonal changes are major contributors to this disorder. And supplements like St. John's wort, curcumin, and SAM-E have been proven effective at treating depression. Of course, Big Pharma can't make money off these natural cures, so they're completely ignored. There are lots of very effective medical mushrooms on the market, including immune boosters like reishi and lion's mane. But psychedelic mushrooms, or magic mushrooms as they're known, are not on the list. If you or someone you love is suffering from depression, stay away from these clinical trials and psilocybin therapy in general. This is just another scheme to take advantage of desperate people and make Big Pharma rich in the process. Topic number 2. It's more dangerous than smoking, and Hollywood is defending it. Hi, I'm Ray, and I quit smoking with Chantix. By now, I know you've seen that commercial on television. The anti-smoking drug Chantix has a new pitchman, famous Hollywood actor Ray Liotta. Yep, the same Ray Liotta from Goodfellas. But here's the problem. The folks that Liotta is working for might not be such good fellows after all, because Chantix comes with some very dark and maybe even deadly secrets. And Big Pharma and our government are working to make sure you never know about them. But I'll let you know. Let's face it, most of us aren't going to run out and do something just because Ray Liotta said so. I mean, he spent much of his career playing psychopaths. I definitely wouldn't follow Liotta's lead on Chantix, and you shouldn't either. Smoking cigarettes is one of the worst things you can do to your body. But I'd rather put a cigarette in my mouth than Chantix, and I'm not kidding. Those cigarettes can kill you in 30 or 40 years, but some folks who took Chantix didn't make it quite that long. Over the years, Chantix has been linked to hundreds of suicides, and we may never know the real number. Celebrity chef Anthony Bourdain, who killed himself earlier this year, was reportedly a Chantix user. Now, of course, big pharma giant Pfizer has fought hard against the notion that Chantix can lead to suicide or suicidal thoughts. They even pushed the Food and Drug Administration to remove a black box warning. Big surprise to anyone? The FDA caved. But here's what Tina, an insurance executive from Chicago, said about her experience taking Chantix. It was just like boom, something went wrong. Tina tried to throw herself out of a moving car. She spent days locked up in a psychiatric ward. Years ago, researcher Thomas Moore from the Institute for Safe Medication Practices studied Chantix and concluded it was causing more side effects than any other drug on the market. The main problems? Suicidal behaviors, depression, psychosis, and aggression. The federal government even banned Chantix from pilots, air traffic controllers, and missile crews. Now, some big pharma defenders will tell you that quitting smoking is stressful, and it is. But I've never heard of anyone who suffered from psychosis or committed suicide when quitting cold turkey. Have you? Hypnotherapy, acupuncture, and even the supplement GABA have been found to help smokers quit and beat nicotine addiction. The folks who back these treatments don't have the money to pay Hollywood stars to hide their problems and make them look good. But then again, they don't need to. I quit smoking. I used to be an air traffic controller, smoked a pack a day. And then I got a pink slip from Ronald Reagan, and it wasn't Nancy's. It was actually, I was one of the air controllers in '81 that got fired for striking. But it was a good time to quit smoking. Never looked back. 2 weeks of, withdrawals, but after that, it's just a mind game. Anyone could do it. And I'm glad I did. I mean, that was almost 50 years ago, 40, 50 years ago. So, hey, what are we talking about? Topic number 3. Imagine, if you will, a pill that takes away your pain with no side effects. Sign me up. It won't make you drowsy or addicted, a true miracle. Well, that medicine is available to you right now. It's been around for a long, long time, but we've only just begun to appreciate its value. You know what it is? It's a placebo. Before you roll your eyes, some new research has found that not only is placebo as good as any drug on the market, but some people, maybe you, will react to placebo just as well as any real medication. I'll tell you more of how that works in a minute, but first here's what researchers from Northwestern University have discovered. Using a subject group of several dozen patients with back pain, doctors there put the power of placebo to the test. And those who responded extremely well to a sugar pill had certain things in common. For one, the right side or emotional part of the brain was bigger than the left. They were more observant of their environments and, as researchers put it, tended to be more self-aware. The success of this study led them to say that the placebo, along with being super safe, is as effective as any available medicine. So what's the secret sauce behind this drug-free way to relieve pain? Well, it's not a trick and it's not magic. And for a placebo to be effective, it doesn't even have to keep a secret from the patient. Experts believe that simply taking a pill exerts a positive healing effect. That action will stimulate your brain to trigger the release of chemicals that can relieve pain. That's right. It's all in your head. Of course, when you think about it, nothing is truly inactive or inert. Often the so-called sugar pills used in clinical trials will contain an ingredient such as olive oil or herbs that have been beneficial effects on the body. Sometimes all you need is just that little tiny spark to begin the healing process on your own. Little things do matter in a very big way. So if you want to put placebo to work for you, it isn't that difficult. It starts with believing in the innate power of your own body to heal itself. You have all the tools needed right at your disposal. And remember, a little love goes a long way with a placebo. Perhaps that's why cooking up a bowl of chicken soup for a loved one who's under the weather can get them back on their feet faster than anything cooked up by Big Pharma. And it sure costs a lot less. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to topic number 4. It may be the most insane thing the Food and Drug Administration has ever done. And boy, oh boy, that's saying something. I don't need to tell you that the way mainstream medicine treats arthritis is a joke. They either cut you open for a joint replacement or stick you on a dangerous pain meds that are killing people every day. Remember Vioxx? But for folks with arthritis, there's been hope until Uncle Sam got involved. An all-natural, drug-free product was soothing away arthritis pain and even reversing damage. Now the FDA is working to make sure you never get your hands on it. And it's all based on some of the most hypocritical research and corrupt political maneuvering I've ever seen. Imagine finding the perfect product to ease away your arthritis pain. And then the unfathomable happens. You can't get a refill. You may never be able to get it again. That's exactly what's happened to folks like you since the FDA dropped the axe on Limbrel early this year. Limbrel is a special blend of joint-soothing plant extracts that was working wonders for arthritis patients. I'll give you the details in a moment. But the FDA got it pulled from the market after 30 adverse events were reported to the feds within a 10-year period. That's right, 3 events a year, 0 deaths, and everyone recovered. Are you kidding me? Opioid pain drugs are killing 40,000 people a year, and our government attacks Limbrel instead. The FDA seems mainly concerned with how Limbrel could affect your liver. But in a study of nearly 900 patients, only 4 experienced anything remotely negative, and the researchers couldn't even prove that Limbrel was the problem. Meanwhile, the FDA has done nothing about our country's biggest cause of acute liver failure, which has killed over 1,300 people a year. That's right, acetaminophen is still considered the gold standard for pain relief at hospitals despite an egregious safety record. Meanwhile, the feds ignore the fact that Limbrel works and is safer than the poisons they allow Big Pharma to push on you. In a 2010 study, Limbrel eased pain, joint tenderness, and other discomfort and helped people move around. And it performed just as well as the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug it went head-to-head with, naproxen. Even better, Limbrel didn't wear off like the NSAID did, naproxen, and it worked best for older folks who are often failed by pain drugs. There's no doubt in my mind that Limbrel is safer than the drugs the FDA is allowed to stay on the market. But Limbrel is the latest victim in the FDA's war on natural medicine, and arthritis sufferers like you are being left in agony. I had one doctor tell me he's had patients calling him in tears because they can't get Limbrel. That's criminal. As far as federal crackdowns go, this is about as nuts as they get. Register your complaint by calling the FDA directly at 1-888-INFO-FDA. Finally, topic number 5. It's the news we've all been waiting for. In the hunt for an Alzheimer remedy, it looks as if researchers may have found a treatment, perhaps even a cure. You won't be reading much about it, as it's not a pill, a shot, or anything else that pads Big Pharma's bottom line. It's a small, modest-looking green herb. And even more exciting is the fact that you can grow it in your own backyard. It's called Gotu Kola. And practitioners of Ayurvedic medicine, the world's oldest medical system, which originated in India, have known about it for centuries. In fact, its more common name should give you a hint about its potential, the herb of longevity. Of course, considering how well Big Pharma controls what the media reports, it's a wonder that any news about Gotu Kola has managed to sneak out at all. But this is what I've learned so far, and it's absolutely remarkable. Researchers at Oregon Health and Science University and Portland VA Medical Center have been hot on the trail of discovering how Gotu Kola can actually reverse Alzheimer's symptoms. One study in particular, published in the International Journal of Alzheimer's Disease, found that a water extract of the herb could be normalized mice who were specially bred to have brain mutations that mimics Alzheimer's. And all it took was 2 weeks for the rodents to perform just as well in the maze and memory test as the other mice. But there's more. Other research, this time involving human subjects, found that only 2 months of taking the extract Gotu Kola from 250 to 700 milligrams daily could improve memory and problem-solving skills. In still another study, seniors diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment were able to ace standard mental exams after taking 500 milligrams of Gotu Kola twice a day for 6 months. And yet further research with mice, the herb was discovered to reverse the brain plaques that are thought to be the hallmark signs of Alzheimer's. That's something Big Pharma has already spent a fortune trying to do. The Oregon researchers say that they plan to continue on and conduct clinical trials in patients. The ultimate goal, they say, is to gather enough evidence for cola to be used by doctors for treatment of prevention of Alzheimer's. That couldn't be better news. But you don't have to wait another day to put this amazing herb to work for you. Cola supplements are already easily available, and as I mentioned, you can even grow them in your backyard. And that concludes our top 5. Let's move on to a couple of testimonials. Here's one. Extraordinary supplements at the most reasonable price. Products that will make a difference in your health. Well, thank you for that, Aziz. Dr. Harry, this July 13th, I had my 80th birthday. I have a great feeling of well-being thanks to Cardio for Life and my wonderful family. I'm extremely active, mainly due to my wife buying me an electric bike for my birthday. Life is great. We would like to personally thank you for your understanding of nitric oxide in the blood and your great skill in the vitamins and minerals and dedication to the course. Well, thank you so much for that, Bob. And finally, Dr. Harry, I took a 30-day vacation from June 30th to July 30th. I drove over 3,400 miles. The last 3 days of the trip, I was anxious to get home and drove too many hours without rest. I believe it caused a blood clot in my right lung. I did not go to the doctor, so I'm only guessing. All I know is I felt puny for the first week I was home. At 2:30 a.m. on Sunday, August 5th, I woke up with severe pain in my right lung. If it had been on my left side, I would have considered it a heart attack and went to the ER. I looked up the symptoms on the net and determined it was a blood clot, so I started taking about 6 ounces of Cardio for Life every 2 hours, and on the 4th glass, the pain went away completely. My blood pressure was 191/90 before I started with Cardio for Life. After the 4th glass, my blood pressure was 128/70. I believe the Cardio for Life probably saved my life. I know for sure it saved me a trip to the ER and possible hospitalization. I turned 79 this year. I take no prescription drugs, no over-the-counter drugs. I have none of the health problems of men half my age. I am a firm believer in Cardio for Life. Well, thank you so much for that, Mike. Oftentimes people say, well, we'll address that and say, well, how do I know Cardio for Life is working? You know, how do you know that my blood pressure, how do you know this, how do you know that? Oftentimes people call me and say, hey, I noticed when I quit taking it. Then it made a difference. Some people will not be without their Cardio for Life. I know I don't leave home without it. My wife's in India right now. I sent her on her way with 3 jars of Cardio for Life. We're big believers in it. It can make a difference in your life. And that's the whole purpose of the Health Guardian, is to help you on your way to optimum health. And I enjoy doing that. I enjoy talking to all of you when you call in. You know, I'm always available not 24 hours a day, but I'm always available. I will call you right back if the phone line is busy. But I love talking to you. I love hearing all your testimonies, and I really am blessed to be blessed by you. But for now, this is Dr. Harry saying thank you all. May you be blessed as you bless me, and God bless America. Thank you. Good night.